Okay, so till now we have understood how the classes are created and how the objects are created of these classes using constructors. We have just seen the example of dummy constructor, the default constructors. And we have seen how to create function, how to return some data to the caller, okay, and how to pass the parameters into the function. Today we'll discuss about the overloading part, how the functions can be overloaded. Okay, what is function overloading and all, or method overloading. Then we'll discuss about constructors and parameterized constructors and how to create a overloaded constructor. We'll discuss mostly about these parts. We'll see how the return types will affect and how the arguments they are affecting within a class. And also we'll discuss about packages and how packages are going to affect our code. That also we'll discuss. So let's go ahead to our next chapter. Okay, I'm going to create a new Java project. Simple. Okay, fine. Project is created and we're going to create a new class. Right click on source, new Java class. Fine. So now there is a part which is called package and we have not given any package yet. It says that the class which we are going to create is created within the package, default package. So what this package is, basically package is for like putting our code into a specific folder. Okay, in Java concept, packages they don't mean anything else, just to put your file into a specific folder. So that's what package is. If we are going to create a package, it basically used to be in the reverse order of the name of the company's domain. Say for example, if I'm talking about IBM, it's a company and I'm working in IBM, so I want to create a Java package, a Java class. That class needs to be put into a specific folder, right? Say for example, that class is dealing with all the business logic, okay, it dealing with all the account related information. So what I'm having right now is I'm working in a company which is called IBM. So the IBM's domain name is ibm.com. So it goes in the reverse order of domain. So first I'll write com.ibm. So this is the reverse order of what the company's domain is. So when I write com.ibm, it creates two folders. Within source, we get a folder called com, and within that com folder, we get another folder which is called IBM. And my code is going to be dealing with the business logic. Say for example, I can write here business logic, and within business logic there are different types of business logic. Some may be saying like some classes may be dealing with like maintaining the business logic with all the employee attendance. Some may be dealing with the account information. So I'm going to talk about the accounts. Okay, so now the package becomes com.ibm.businesslogic.accounts. So it creates four different folders in the same hierarchy that we have given over. On the top, within source folder we'll have com package, within that we'll have IBM, then business logic, and within that we'll have accounts. And within that I'm going to create a class. So for example, I'm going to create a bank account. Okay, so now I'm creating a bank account. So for example, I'm going to call this bank account a specific bank account which is called savings bank account. Okay, so the name of the class becomes savings bank account. And note one thing, whenever I'm creating a class, always I start with a capital letter. If the class name contains multiple words, every first letter of every word is going to be capital. It's a saving bank account. So S, B, and A, all of them are capital letter. And I'm putting them into a package called com.ibm.businesslogic.accounts. Okay. So I don't want a main method, so I'm not going to select this. Let's leave it apart and click on enter. So now the class is created. And you can see the class structure, it is put into a package. Earlier it used to be within the source folder itself. It used to be default package. Okay, so directly if you go to source folder, you will find the class circle.java. Now I have created a package com.ibm.businesslogic.accounts. So if you go into the folder structure, if you go into the file system and if you look at the class which is created, you'll basically find the same standard, which like this must four different folders will be created. So let's do one thing. Let's right click on the project, go to properties. It will tell me where this file is located at, where this project is located. Location in the resource tab. If you look at the right side over here, we are finding that location is, this is the location where my project is located. Either I can copy paste and go to this location, or directly I can click on this icon. It will take me to that location. So I'm going to click on System Explorer. Fine. So this is the location where my class is located, where my object is located, my project is located. Within that I can find my different classes. So if I go into this folder, I can see there is a folder called src source. If I go into that, I'll find another one called com. So basically if you look at this, we have a package structure says com.ibm.businesslogic.accounts. Similarly, within this folder, if I go to within src, I'm finding com. Within that IBM, business logic and accounts. Within that I have the Java class. Okay. So this is how it looks. When I create the package, it is arranged properly in a folder. And what we are going to do now, we are going to add certain parameters within this savings bank account. So when we talk about a class in Java, a class is something which has like some meaning in the real world. So if you say flying, okay, flying or talking to somebody, it cannot be a class. But if I say a laptop, okay, it has a physical existence, it has some meaning, it has certain parameters. What is the size of the laptop, hard disk size, okay, what is the speed of the laptop, how much RAM is available, which brand is it, so what is the like price of this laptop, which operating system is. So these are parameters that define a laptop, right? So when I say flying, okay, it's not a name, it's a proper, like it's a functionality. Flying is a functionality. Similarly, when I talk about savings bank account, it has a meaning. So it will have an account number, okay, it will have a bank name, okay, it will have certain balance that I am having, it will have history of the transactions that were made. Okay, so all these things will be over there. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to add these parameters. So within this public class savings bank account, I'm going to add certain parameters. So before that, look over here. Here we are having a package name. So when I put a Java class into a package, so within that class I have to define this class belongs to this package. Okay, it's a very simple word. We have to tell package space the fully qualified package name. So if you look at the Java package that we created over here, it's same as the package that I have declared. So in Eclipse it is created automatically, but we must remember how the packages are created. That's fine. Now we have a class, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add certain parameters. Parameters like a saving bank account number is going to have an account number. So account number can be an integer value. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an integer account number. See, this is very simple. The account number, it's a variable, right? It's a reference or it's a variable, whatever we can say. So it doesn't have its own existence. It points to a value in the memory. That's what the references are. So now I have just created just a variable, okay? And it has not pointed to any value in the memory. When I say equals to 30, that means it's pointing to a memory location where this value is present, right? So whenever we deal with such variables, we should always remember that the name of the variable should start with a small letter. And if it is having multiple number of words, each word's first letter is going to be capitalized. So this is what we call camel casing in Java. Okay, in most of the programming languages you will find this camel casing. Similar rule go with functions as well. When we create a function, the first letter used to be small letter. If it contains multiple words, corresponding like every other words will have the first letter capitalized. So now I'm having an account number, but I cannot say that the account number is going to be 30 all the time. So now I'm going to create a new savings bank account object. Okay, when I'm going to create a new bank account object, at that point of time I'm going to say okay, this bank account is going to have this account number. Okay, this bank account is going to have this specific name of the account holder. So I'm not going to store any value right now. When I'll store that, when I'm going to create the object. And how we create the objects? We create the objects with the help of constructors. So I am having one field or one variable, one parameter right now in this class. Then I'm going to have a string value, string account holder name. See, this word, this account holder name, it's a variable, it's having 3 words, and each word's first letter is capitalized. It's a string, and we're not yet assigning any values. We can have balance, int balance, or we can better have double balance. Now fine. Okay, anything else? Anything else we can put? Balance, account number, and account holder name. That's it. Let's go ahead with these 3 parameters. We can add more parameters in future if we want. Now we have 3 parameters within this class. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create an object of this class. So how do we create the object? So I should have a different runner class who is going to create objects of this bank account. So I'm going to create a runner class. So I'm going to create the runner class. You can see within src folder I'm having a package which is having the business logic. What I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new Java class using Control N shortcut. Over here I have the class selected, click enter. Now see, the package name is by default com.ivm.businesslogic.accounts. I'm not going to go to this business logic. I'm going to create the startup, the runner methods, runner, runner classes. So I'm having a different package. Within that package I'll have certain Java classes which are going to help me run the project. So I'm going to have maybe account application runner. This is the class name. It's having 3 words and all the words first letter is capitalized. If it would have been a method, the first letter of the first word is going to be small. Now we're creating a class, so all the letters of the first word, all the first character of each and every word are going to be capitalized. Fine. So now I'm going to create the class. Now the class is created. See, you can see there are 2 different classes and they are stored into 2 different packages. This class is somewhere, savings bank account is within the accounts package, and accounts app runner is in a different package. So directly this class or this class, they don't have any type of relationship. So accounts app runner cannot create the object of saving bank account directly. Right, so if you go back into circle demo, you can see this is circle class is present and over there we have a circle demo. Both of them are closed and they are within the same package, this default package. Now we are having 2 different classes and they are not in the same package. But we need to create the object of saving bank account. So when such scenario arises, what we do, we import this class saving bank account within this account app runner. So what is importing basically? Importing is basically reusing some other classes which were already created and they belong to a different project or they belong to a different package or some sort of different software. They don't belong to me directly. So within this package, I have accounts app runner, and within accounts app runner, I want to create object of savings bank account. So let's go ahead and create the savings bank account object within this accounts app runner. So as it is a runner class, so it should have a main method, right? So to create a main method, main control space, and it will ask me to create the main method. Fine, now we have the main method. Within the main method, I am going to create an object of savings bank account. So how to create that? Very simple. First, name of the class, savings bank account. Use control space, it will be automatically printed. Let me go back. Okay, savings bank account. Undo. Now I have created, I have just taken the class name savings bank account. Maybe I'm going to call it account1 equals to new savings bank account. That's it. Now when this thing happens, you can see over here there is a red mark, right? Over here we're getting certain errors. So when you put your mouse on top of that, it is going to say you, okay, let me show the error. Savings bank account cannot be resolved to a type. So it says that I cannot understand what savings bank account is. Okay, basically that belongs to a different class, so it cannot directly access that. So what I need to do is I need to import that class. I need to import savings bank account within my current class so that I can start using it. Eclipse has a very good shortcut. You can directly click over here, import savings bank account, and just see this package name. It says that saving bank account is going to be imported from com.ibm.businesslogic.accounts, right? So when I click on this, you're going to see there is one more new statement which is going to come up. I click on this, you can see importing has happened. So what it is saying is import this class savings bank account, and it says this class is being imported from this package. So now we have given the fully qualified name of the class. When we say a fully qualified name of a class, it means that we are going to give the package name, complete package name, and at the end the class name. Then this class is called a fully qualified name. Now we have given the fully qualified name of the class and that is imported, and this error is gone, right? So we have access to saving bank account and we can create an object. So when this statement is executed, we have one new object created into memory, and that object's reference is within this account 1 reference. So don't be confused that this account 1 is one object. No, it's not an object, it's just a reference. Like we have seen in C and C++, the pointer, it's similar to that one. So this reference is pointing or referring to the new object that was created when I executed this much statement, when I called this savings bank account dummy constructor. Okay, fine. So let's do one thing. When I'm creating the savings bank account, I'm going to deal with something that I want to create the object with certain values, because the savings bank account, it is needing something. It needs a name, it needs a number, it needs a bank number, account number, it needs some amount money to be deposited within that account. So if I go back to this class, use control and click, it is having 3 different parameters, right? 3 different variables or 3 different properties. And this class wants to mandate that whoever is going to create my object, he is going to mandatorily give me 3 different values. He is going to mandatorily give me these 3 parameters, these 3 values to my 3 parameters. So for that we are going to create a constructor. That constructor needs to be public so that others who are not within the same class, others as in who is out of this class, can access my constructor and can create my object. So I'm going to create a new constructor. It's going to be public, and constructors, the name is same as the class name. So I'm going to copy savings bank account, copy, public space, paste. There is no return type, and this used to be the default constructor, right, which we are already calling over here. Now what I want is, when I create this new constructor, when I call this new constructor, and when I'm creating a savings bank account object, I want to create that object with the value of account number. Like this object is having the account number 1 and the name is XYZ and the balance is 100 rupees. So that I want to specify when I'm calling the constructor, when I'm creating the object. So to do that, I'm going to pass 3 different parameters over here. Parameters are going to be int account number, comma, string account holder name, double balance. So these are the 3 parameters which are going to be provided when somebody is calling the constructor. So now the constructor is called when somebody is trying to create the object. It is mandatory that he or she needs to give these 3 parameters. Okay, if it doesn't give, it's going to be a compilation error. Okay, so let's do one thing. Let's save this class. When I save this class and I go back to account app runner, who is basically calling the constructor, you can see there is some error. If you put your mouse on that, it is saying that okay, the constructor savings bank account is undefined. So it says that there is no such dummy constructor available anymore. Okay, as we have made the constructor public and we have mandated that somebody who is going to create the object needs to give the three parameters, then this constructor, dummy constructor, it becomes unavailable or undefined. So what I am going to do over here, so when the main method is trying to create the object, he knows what are the three values that he wants to create this object with. So if I'm creating an account, I know what is the name of the account. Okay, what is the name of the account holder and what is the account number. Okay, and how much balance I'm going to put. So when I'm creating this object, I need to provide these three values. Okay, so we can directly pass them over here. So for example, the first parameter is account number. Second parameter is a name, so that is a string, area, comma, and third is a value, amount. Understood? So 100 rupees is what I'm going to start my account with. So you can see now there is no error, the error is gone, and this account constructor is taking three different values to create my account. So if you control and click on savings bank account constructor, it's not going to take me to that dummy constructor because that is not available anymore. It's going to take me to that constructor which is able to take these three parameters. So I'm going to control click and it has taken me to this constructor which is having these three different values. It's my responsibility, it's the responsibility of savings bank account constructor to copy these values, okay, to copy these values into its corresponding variables. So how to do that? I need to copy these values. So what I'm going to do right now, so this type of constructor who is having some parameter is called a parameterized constructor. Okay, so what these parameters are going to be, they are going to be copied into my current or my own different variables, own different parameters. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this account number into this account. You can see the name are very similar, the name is quite equal. So when I try to copy, okay, when I'm going to copy the values account number equal to account number. So basically what I want to do is I want to copy this value into this value. But there is a confusion. The compiler is confused. Like I'm trying to copy this value into myself. So if you look at this, there is some warning which is coming up, right? So if you put a mouse on top of that, it is saying the assignment, okay, over here, the assignment to variable account number has no effect. So it says that when you assign x equal to x or y equal to y, it doesn't have any meaning. What we need to do, we need to assign this variable, the function's parameter, to the class or the instance parameters or the instance variable. These class parameters are called the instance parameters, and these parameters are called as the function parameter or the local variables to the function. So how am I going to access an instance parameter? The instance parameters are accessed with the help of this operator. Okay, so what is an instance actually? An instance is nothing but the object of the class. Okay, so when somebody says I'm going to access the instance parameter or the instance methods, so I need to specifically say this instance dot account number. So it's going to access the instance's account number or the object that is going to be created, that object's account number, not this variable. So you're going to assign this value, account number value, which is received as a function parameter. I'm going to copy that value using this equals operator, assignment operator. I'm going to copy this value to my instance variable. So now this step has copied the account number into the instance. Similarly, I can do the same thing for other. This dot account holder's name equals to account holder's name. And this is going to copy the account holder's name into the instance variable. Similarly, this dot balance equal to balance. Fine. Now we have copied the values from the constructor parameters into the instances parameter. Okay. Now I have copied them. So the object is created with these three values. So if somebody wants to see what is balance is, what he is going to do, he is going to call a method who can give him his balance. So we can have a method public void display balance, and it's going to print the balance hello, and it's going to give his name plus account holders name plus your balance is balance. Now I can see I have written something over here. So what it is doing, it is printing hello plus the instance variables account holder name. So I can either write this dot account holder name, or I can skip this. If I skip this, it's not going to create any problem, because this variable is not a confusing word right now. So whenever we're talking about any variable, we need to know in how much area is this variable accessible. So when I was talking about this account number, this is a parameter to the function, and its scope or its availability, its visibility is within these two curly braces only. Whenever we're talking about a function, constructor, or anything, any class or anything, whenever we're talking about its parameters, we're going to look at this closest brackets. So when I talk about this account holder's name, so this account holder name is not created within these brackets. So where is it coming from? It is coming from the upper level curly brackets. So this curly bracket is started and closed. It's fine. So it has its scope complete. We don't need to go inside that. And these variables won't be accessible outside as well. But when I talk about this account holder's name, this name, it is accessible from the class. It is copied from the class or the instances property. So it is saying hello account holder name, then a comma, and your balance is the balance value that he is having. Okay, any doubt? Please go on. If you have any questions to ask, please go on. Okay, seems okay. Should I proceed? Okay, go on, Sanya.
So why we are putting this keyword with account number, account holder name, and balance? Just to justify that this is instance variable and this is function.
Yeah, we had to do that. We didn't have any other option. All the doors were closed. See, this scope or these two curly brackets, they have a small area. In that area, we have another account number variable. Okay. So when I say account number, I am confused. Which account number I am talking about, right? So when I specify this dot account number, it means that we're talking about this instance's account number, or this object which is created, that object's account number. Understood? And when I say just account number, it is the account number which is very local or which is very close to me, which is defined just within this method. Okay, so this is just to remove the confusion from the compiler and to give a good clarity. Seems okay?
Okay, sir.
Okay, so now what we have in this class, if you look at this class, we have three different parameters: account number, account holder name, and balance. If somebody wants to create the object, he cannot call the dummy constructor because I have created the parameterized constructor. And the constructor doesn't take, like, it takes three parameters compulsory. The first parameter needs to be integer, second one needs to be a string, and third one is mandatory to be a double value. So when I receive these three values within my constructor, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy these values into my object's three different parameters. That's it. Now that is done. The object is created and the object's variables are having three different values. So if somebody is interested to know the balance, so what he can do, he can call the object that he has created, that object's reference he is keeping. With the help of that reference, he can call this method, display balance method. And when this display balance is executed, it is printing hello and that object's account holder's name and that object's balance as the balance. So we're going to test it, but before that we're going to look at some more parameters as well. You can see over here we have public. That means this constructor can be called from outside the class. Again, this method is having public. That means this method can be called from outside the class. And there is a return type which is called void. Okay, every method needs to define its return type. If the return type is void, the method does not need to return anything. If the return type is some type, then it is mandatory that within the method we have at least one statement which says that return this value to the caller. Now it seems clear. Let's go to the app runner. Over here we have created one saving bank account, and you can see we have given three parameters. Account number 1, name is Arya, and the value is 100. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to call account 1 dot display balance. Okay, you can see this method is available because it is public, and we call display balance. So what it is going to return, it returns nothing. You can see the void is over there. If I put my mouse on that, it says void. There is no return type. But it has certain logic. Once we run this code, we'll be going to know what the return type is. Right click, run as Java application. The output will be displayed in the console. You can see hello Arya is the name or the account holder name of the object that was created. So when I look at the object, new saving bank account, this is the object which is getting created, and this is the name that I specified while creating the object, and the balance that I have given, that is also displayed. Okay, as it is a double value, this 100 is an integer value, but it is typecasted automatically to fit into a double variable. Okay, so when I print that value, it says 100.0, not just 100. If it would have been an integer value, it would have displayed just 100. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another account. For example, copy and paste, and two different variables or two different references, they cannot have the same name. Account 1 is repeated twice, so it is going to give you the error that duplicate local variable account number. You can see over here, duplicate local. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to rename the this variable, this reference. So account 2 is created. Now while creating the account 2, I'm going to specify three different values. I'm going to give a name, account number as 2, a different name, and some value. Okay, now it's done. Now we have two different accounts. What I need to do is I need to call account 2 dot display balance. Fine. So when I run this, it's going to give me two different outputs, run as, and their corresponding balances. Hello Arya, your balance is 100.0, and hello because your balance is 234.563. Seems okay?
Sir?
Okay.
So why we are taking display balance method? Because constructor doesn't need na explicitly invoke to them, sir.
No, I didn't get your question. Display balance
Sir.
is a method, is a public
Yes,
method
sir.
which is available within savings bank account. If I want to access that public method, I need to create the object of bank account. Then only I can, using that object reference, I can call the method. So using that reference, I'm calling the display balance. It is just to display the account balance that I'm having. Or your doubt was something else? Just let me know what problem actually you faced. What was your doubt?
Sir, you have said na constructor doesn't need to invoke explicitly.
Constructor doesn't need to be invoked explicitly. No, I didn't understand that. See, why we call the constructor? We call the constructor so that object can be created. Okay, the class,
Yes.
the class itself is having nothing. It's just a textual information. It's just a code. When I want to load that class into memory, okay, when I want to work with that class, that means I'm going to give that class a life. Okay, then I need to load that into memory. Okay, so to load that class into memory, the class is having certain parameters. The class is having certain fields. These fields should have certain value. Otherwise, the class is meaningless. So the class is asking me for these three values within the constructor. So when I call the constructor of that class, I am specifying the value. So explicitly I am calling the constructor so that the object can be created with the values that I am specifying. And the object which is created in the memory, that there is a memory location for that. Like the object which is created, it is having a memory location. At this point in the physical memory in the RAM, this object is present. So that memory location is kept or is saved within this reference account number 1. So using account 1, I can access the different properties, different parameters, different variables, all the methods of that object. So I have created account 1 and I have called account 1 dot display balance. You have any other doubt?
No, sir.
Okay. Seems okay, or anybody else is having any problem? If you want, I can display both of them. Yeah. Now we have understood how to create a parameterized constructor. Okay.
So Arya, here you use this keyword.
Okay.
This is not account number. So I can use different variables here without using this.
Perfect. As I said, it is a confusion to the construct compiler. So if you have a different variable name, we don't need to give these. Okay.
So I can use variable one, then variable name and variable balance.
Yes, you can.
Like I can do that, right?
Anything you can use. So if the two parameters, two variables, the instance variable and the methods variable, they're having the same name, then you need to specify this property, this keyword. Okay. Okay, fine. So I think all of us have understood how to create the parameterized constructor. Now we are going to talk about a new thing that is called overloading. Okay, that's called overloading. So what I'm going to do, that say for example the business says that the savings bank account can be opened with a zero balance. Understood? So a savings bank account, say for example somebody says that you can open a bank account in my bank, but you don't need to specify your balance. We are going to open it for you with zero balance. Okay, but the problem is the constructor is still asking me for the balance. Okay, so it doesn't have any meaning. I'm going to pass zero all the time, right? If I want to open the saving bank account of all my employees with zero balance, then why do I give this balance value? Understood? So what we can do is we can delete this. But again, there is a problem. There are certain clients or there are certain people who are using my bank account, who are opening bank account in my bank, but they're specifying their balance initially. They're putting some 1,000 or 2,000 rupees initially. So these constructors are not going to work anymore, right? The constructor saving bank account int string int is undefined. So the problem over here is we cannot delete or we cannot force other customers or other people who are calling my constructor, who are using my constructor, to change their code. Okay, so what I'm going to do, that I'm going to keep it same, keep it as it is. Okay, so whoever is trying to access this value or this constructor, they can use this constructor. And if certain people are trying to create a bank account with zero balance, I'm going to open another constructor for them, and in that constructor I can remove this last parameter. Now you can see that it's working fine. I'm taking only the account number and the account holder name, and I'm copying them to the specific instance variables, and this balance is not needed, so I've removed that. Okay, and the balance is going to be initialized with 0.0, or still we can have this way. If somebody is calling my constructor zero balance a constructor, then I can say the value balance equals to 0. So now we have two constructors, and you have seen, as I have already told you, two different references, two different variables, two different methods, two different classes. They cannot have the same name. The same rule goes to constructors as well. Now we have the same name over here. Over here the same name is available, right? But still we are not facing any problem. This is a very special case with the methods or the functions and the constructors, that we can have two different constructors or two different methods with the same name. Understood? So now we are having a constructor and this is another constructor with the same name, provided the arguments are different. Whenever we face such a scenario, with the same name, like two constructor or multiple constructors are having the same name within the class, but they are having different type of parameters, then we call it a overloading case. So this is called constructor overloading. So this is a parameterized constructor and this is overloaded. Overloading means multiple constructors or multiple methods having same name but different set of parameters. So if I go back and if I want to open a zero account balance, it's open account 3, but this time I'm not going to provide the balance. The employee ID is going to be different. Now I have account 3. See, now I'm calling two different types of constructors. Okay, we're facing some issue. Okay, we have not saved this class. So what is happening, when you can see over here the class is not saved. The star mark is here. When we save the class by clicking over here, what is going to happen? It is going to save the .java file, automatically compile that .java file into its corresponding .class file, and that .class file is going to be linked automatically with these class. So these are two different classes. So as I am trying to call a constructor with two parameters, it is saying that this is undefined because I have not yet saved this. The corresponding generated class is not yet generated. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on save. So once it is saved, you can go back and see the error is gone. So now we are using two different constructors. This constructor, they are of the first type, which is taking 3 parameters, and this is an overloaded constructor with 2 parameters, and it is going to set the balance as 0. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to run now, and I'm going to look at the output. Okay, and the output says that the balance is 0.0. The same thing that we have done with the constructor, we can do with the functions as well. So I'm calling display balance function. Okay, so when you go to display balance function, it is a function. What it is doing, it is just printing hello account holder name, your balance is balance. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another method with the same name. Okay, now it is showing me some error because both the functions, they are having the same signature. What is the meaning of function signature? A function signature is defined by some details of the function. Say for example, name of the function, function's return type, and the function formal parameters. Now if you look at the signature of this function and this function, they are all equal. That is the reason why we are getting a compilation error. When we put our mouse on that, it says it's a duplicate function. Okay, duplicate method display balance in type this class savings bank account. So what we are going to do, we are going to take some parameter, take some different like formal argument so that this error will be gone. So we are going to take string salutation. So now this function's signature is not taking any arguments, but this function with the same name, it's taking some argument. So this is the overloaded function. I'm going to call it overloaded function. Fine, and it's going to print.
It's 11 o'clock.
Hello. Then salutation can be Mr. or Mrs. So I'm going to print the salutation plus salutation. Understood? Plus suppose I'm going to give hello Mr. in space the name of the person, and I'm going to print it. Now the function is same. So when I say account dot display balance, if I specify the specific salutation, how to specify? I need to pass the argument over here. How to do that? I can give a double quote and I can say Mr. Okay. fine? See the function, here the function is taking no arguments, okay? And here the same function is taking an argument. So the main logic behind this is we have to look at the function's parameters. So look at the function signature, which function is called. So when I control and click on this function, which doesn't take any parameter, it will take me to the function without any parameters. You can see I am over here. But when I click on these functions, it will take me to the parameterized constructor, parameterized function. So this is an overloaded function. So let's do one thing. Let's save the classes and try to run the code. And click run as Java application. Now you can see the output, that different. And based on our implementation, we can have multiple functions and multiple constructor. It's all dependent on our business logic. Now I think we have understood how the function overloading works. Okay, anyone is having any doubt in these two parts? Overloading function and packages and overloading constructors. Just let me know. Seems okay. Nobody is having no doubt. Okay, I'm going to add one more method that's called public int get double get balance. See, this is a method which is having two different words. Get is the first word, it's having the first letter as small. Second letter onwards, every word's first letter will be capitalized. Get balance, and it's taking no arguments. But this method is basically need to like return one double value. The method must return a result of the type double. What does that mean? So whenever this method is going to be executed, the caller, whoever is calling this method, is expecting some double value. But if this method doesn't return anything, it's going to be a problem, right? So that's the reason when we specify the return type at some specific type, over here we have defined void, so we don't need to return anything. Over here, as I have like specified the type is going to be double, I need to return some value using the keyword return space the balance that I'm having. Okay, the objects or the instances current balance. So it's going to return the balance. It's done. So when I'm trying to print the balance, say for example, I'm going to directly use account to dot get balance. So I'll get the balance over here directly. That's the return type in our Java application, and we're going to get the balance of the second object that is printed directly. Okay, seems like there's no problem till now. So I have certain questions in which I'll be specifying a scenario. I'll be telling what the function is going to do, what are the different parameters it needs to accept, okay, what is the operation it is going to do, and what data or what value it is going to return if there is any return value. So what you need to do right now is you are going to write the function for me. You're going to write the function in a class or some separate classes, and you're going to see what are the problems that you are facing, okay. And if any doubt, you guys can let me know. Okay, any problem in this, or we should proceed? I think the time is over. We can have another class tomorrow.